Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a journey deep into the dark heart of rural Japan to dissect one of the absolutely most terrifying urban legends ever born on the internet. Seriously, this one is pure nightmare fuel. We're going to completely gut this myth, look under the hood, and figure out exactly why it terrifies us so much and how it managed to morph into a massive global phenomenon. So, grab a seat, make sure you're comfortable, and honestly, you might want to leave a light on for this one. Because tonight, we are opening the door to Hachishakusama.
Imagine just sitting outside in a quiet, peaceful garden, and suddenly, completely out of nowhere, you hear this. Po, 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 po. Now, this isn't some high-pitched, spooky, ghostly wail that you see in the movies. It's described as this deep, masculine, almost mechanical, and just inescapably rhythmic sound. And that right there establishes the sensory horror right away. Before you even see the threat, it's literally already inside your head. It's a sound that signals without a doubt that you are already being hunted.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the sound of 8 feet.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We step back to the summer of 1998 in this idyllic, rural Japanese village. It's safe, it's warm, it's deeply nostalgic. A young boy is visiting his grandparents, and he's just relaxing in the backyard. Suddenly, he hears that deep po, po, po sound we just talked about. He looks toward the edge of the property and sees a wide-brimmed straw hat bobbing just above an 8-foot-tall hedge. And then, the terrifying realization of scale suddenly sets in. I mean, to put that into perspective, for a human head to be visible over a barrier that high, the person standing on the other side would have to be monstrously, unnaturally tall.
So, the boy goes inside and innocently mentions seeing this impossibly tall woman to his grandparents. And their reaction? It is instantaneous, sheer panic. The color completely drains from their faces because they know exactly what this means. Hachishakusama literally translates to the 8-foot-tall lady. She's this ancient entity, usually appearing in a white dress, who specifically targets, abducts, and, according to the deeply rooted local legend, devours children. And here's the worst part. By simply looking at her, by locking eyes, the boy has just been marked.
Moving on to Section 2, the Night of Terror.
The atmosphere in the house immediately shifts from this sunny, relaxed afternoon to a claustrophobic, suffocating sense of dread. The grandfather is absolutely terrified. He rushes out and brings in a local witch to set up what is essentially a last resort supernatural defense line, because they know for a fact she is coming for the boy tonight. So the boy is locked in a bedroom, completely alone, and given these incredibly rigid survival instructions. Rule 1, place bowls of purifying salt in all 4 corners of the room. 2, pray continuously to a Buddha statue placed right in the center. 3, tightly grip a protective parchment. And 4, and this is the absolutely crucial, do not break under any circumstances rule, do not open the door until exactly 7 a.m., no matter what happens.
So he's sitting there, and deep into the night, the tapping on the window starts. That awful rhythmic po, po, po echoes through the very walls of the house. But then, the entity shifts her tactics. A very familiar voice whispers right through the bedroom door. If you are scared, open the door. We want to hug you. You guys, she flawlessly mimics his grandfather's voice. It's a brilliant, horrifying tactic that exploits his deepest fears and his desperate need for comfort, just testing his resolve to stay inside that pitch-black room. It is quite literally pure psychological torture.
But the boy holds out. He sits there, clutching his parchment, keeping his eyes firmly shut the entire time. When 7 a.m. finally arrives and his family unlocks the door, there's this horrifying detail waiting for them. By dawn, the purifying salt in all 4 corners of the room had turned pitch black, just completely dark. That shows you the sheer, concentrated demonic energy the boy was subjected to for all those hours. It was overwhelming. The barrier barely held.
Which brings us to Section 3, escaping the entity.
Because here's the thing, surviving the night was really only step 1. The entity is still waiting right outside. The family knows they have to get the boy out of her territory, and they have to do it in broad daylight. So they orchestrate this highly specific, almost ritualistic escape plan built entirely around the number 9. They place the boy directly in the center of a 9-seater van and surround him with 8 adult male blood relatives. The witch is the one driving, and they have to move at an agonizingly slow pace of just 20 kilometers per hour. The idea here is that the blood relatives act as a sort of human shield, essentially masking the boy's specific presence from this supernatural predator trying to track him.
And the tension reaches its absolute breaking point right here. The boy was given one rigid rule for this car ride: keep your head down and do not look out the window. But he breaks it. He peeks, And there she is, a white dress fluttering effortlessly alongside a moving vehicle. He actually locks eyes with her again. The witch just starts screaming these desperate prayers as that rhythmic po-po-po, po-po-po completely drowns out the sound of the engine.
They frantically push forward. They cross the village limits, and suddenly, the sound just stops. The boy survives, but his survival comes with a massive, permanent price. He is banished from ever returning to Japan. If he ever steps foot in the country again, Hachishakusama will immediately resume her hunt. He's cut off from his homeland, his grandparents, his roots forever. It's a really tragic, lingering end to a terrifying story.
Now let's look at Section 4, Origins on the Internet.
Okay, so while this whole thing feels like some ancient, whispered village legend passed down for hundreds of years, its actual roots are surprisingly modern. Follow this timeline with me. Back in August 2008, the original story was anonymously posted on the Japanese text board 2chan. It was just deeply buried in their occult section. And it actually stayed a localized, niche internet hit for years, until around 2016 when it was finally translated into English and hit Western creepypasta sites. The idea spread like wildfire. From there, it just exploded, eventually becoming so culturally significant that by 2021, it was inspiring major, mainstream video game antagonists.
Let's dive into Section 5, Symbolism and Folklore Roots.
So you might be wondering, why did a random forum post from 2008 work so incredibly well? Well, it's because the anonymous author grounded it in real, ancient fears. For example, the lore inside the story states Hachishakusama was sealed away decades ago by 4 Jizo statues. Now, in the real world, these represent Jizo Basatsu, the traditional Buddhist guardian of travelers, and this is key, children. The myth explains that one of these guardian statues broke, which is what unleashed this child-eating entity back into the world. It's an absolutely brilliant subversion of a sacred symbol of safety.
As you can see, the story perfectly bridges the gap. It takes elements of traditional lore, like Jizo statues, purifying salt, and ancient yokai spirits, and injects them directly into the modern structure of anonymous forums and unstoppable viral entities. It feels historically authentic. It pulls from genuine, deep-seated cultural anxieties, and that is exactly what makes the creeping horror feel so incredibly real when you're reading it.
And there is a really fascinating global parallel happening here too. Look at this. In the East, you have Hachishakusama. She targets children, she's unnaturally tall, and she manipulates audio to lure her victims. Meanwhile, in the West, emerging on internet forums during the exact same era, you have Slenderman. He targets children, he's unnaturally tall, and he causes audio-visual static. We're looking at 2 massive, faceless boogeymen that were independently created by internet crowds miles and miles apart. It really just proves that these specific primal fears are entirely universal.
Hachishakusama is so effective because it expertly exploits universal psychological fears. First, it preys on the deep vulnerability of youth and that raw horror of being completely powerless. Second, it corrupts the safe, nostalgic haven of a rural family home, a place that's supposed to be your ultimate sanctuary. And third, perhaps most terrifyingly, it removes your ability to trust familiar voices. I mean, when the monster outside sounds exactly like your loved ones pleading for you to open the door, suddenly nowhere is safe.
And finally, Section 6, Legacy in Pop Culture.
Look, you simply can't keep an 8-foot-tall horror icon hidden in internet forums forever. This single 2chan post had a massive ripple effect across modern global entertainment. Japanese media heavily embraced the legend. She's a central antagonist in the sci-fi novel and anime series Other Side Picnic. If you're a gamer, you might have recently spotted a woman in a white dress wearing a wide-brimmed hat as a chilling NPC Easter egg in the massive hit game Zenless Zone Zero. And of course, she has spawned just countless indie horror manga adaptations over the years.
Which naturally brings us to Resident Evil Village. When Capcom set out to design their now universally iconic villain, Lady Dimitrescu, they actually explicitly cited 3 core inspirations: the 16th century serial killer Elizabeth Bathory, Morticia Addams, and, yep, you guessed it, Hachishakusama. That extreme height, the wide-brimmed hat, the flowing dress, the terrifying unyielding pursuit, all of it is a direct, deliberate homage to this digital legend.
But you know, pop culture did something very strange to the legend along the way. Resident Evil 8 art director Tomonori Takano noted, and I quote, "Personally, I was particularly struck by comments like, 'I want to be chased by her.' And that right there is the incredible, ironic twist of internet culture. The web created this deeply terrifying, child-eating entity meant to instill pure dread, and the internet eventually turned her into an object of viral fascination, massive fandom, and just endless memes."
So, from a terrifying anonymous forum post to a massive global pop culture icon, the 8-foot-tall woman proves the immense power of digital folklore. It shows us that our oldest, deepest fears can still thrive,
adapt, and evolve in the modern age. Which leaves us with one final chilling question. If you are sitting alone tonight, the house is completely quiet, and you suddenly hear a deep p coming from just outside your window, what would you do? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me. Stay curious, and please, stay safe.